Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some intel I have. Now, normally, I don't give out intel. I mean, you can read between the lines if you want to, and Lord knows I've certainly gave you enough lines to read between. And in stuff that's not germane to Majestic, I just tell you as it is. This stuff isn't germane to Majestic. It's germane to geopolitics. And I'm going to give you some intel that you're not hearing about anywhere else. So that's what this is about. You can take it or leave it. It can go in one ear and out the other. But I'm going to give you a little bit of background and then tell you what is happening, okay? First, a little background. In China here, we are just finished up a 3-day weekend of Mid-Autumn Festival. Well, it's not actually Mid-Autumn Festival. It's Lantern Festival, but it's a festival. And everybody has been giving each other these things called mooncakes. And personally, I think they're too sweet. But it's sort of like a big cupcake that's like half cream cheese and half fruit on the inside. And so you've been given this in a kind of fruit, a big massive fruit that everybody gives each other. You don't have that fruit in the States. It's a cross between a cantaloupe, a watermelon, and a grapefruit. And it's about this big. And everybody gives them out to each other. I've got about 7 of them at the house. I'm like, I'm not going to eat all these damn things. And, as you know, I've been pretty busy. New house, new car, new school for my kid. Kind of work going on, all this kind of stuff. As a consequence of a 3-4 affirmation campaign. And so I get up, come over here to the office, and I'm going through my morning scrolls. I've pretty much given up on American media. Some British media is great for shits and giggles, but they're way, way out of whack. I scan the headlines in Drudge, primarily because Drudge Report has become an organization of the United States government. And whatever you see, that reflects the narratives. So I read it to hear what the narratives are, not for any news. And the narratives is that now Ukraine has taken the matter at hand and has pushed back the invaders, the cruel Russians, back. And of course, and then there's of course something about China. China, oh my God, is very unhappy because of coronavirus lockdowns. It's like, so I'm going to talk about these two things. That's what we're talking about now. Okay? So, people, do you want to know what really is going on in the Ukraine? Here's some straight-ass intel for you. If you were an American or NATO, and you wanted to put your command and control centers where your leadership is in a safe spot, you wouldn't put them in the front lines. You wouldn't put them on a military base. You would put them someplace that you know the Russians wouldn't bomb, right? Well, we've seen that Russians don't care if you put your forces or tanks in schools. They'll just blow the damn schools up. But there has been one thing that the Russians haven't blown up. They haven't been blowing up railroad bridges and electrical stations. They've been leaving the infrastructure intact, trying to make a humane war. Hopefully so that they can take over and don't have to repair these suckers, we assume. So imagine the absolute horror and surprise when all the American and NATO command and control leadership offices, the headquarters located in all these power plants and untouchable utilities are suddenly blown off the face of the earth. My intel to you is Russia just wiped out an entire level of command of NATO over Ukrainian forces. They just wiped them out. They're dead. Now, of course, it's all reporting about how the Ukrainians have bravely pushed the Russians back to the border. That's what's being reported. What's really going on is, yeah, that's happening. But, this isn't World War I with trench warfare, okay? Not for the most part. Wars are a fluid movement. You gain territory, you lose territory. You gain territory, you lose territory. So that's not important. What is important is in the game of chess, you take the queen. You seize the king. You knock off those rooks and knights and bishops. That's what Russia just did. They took out the bishops, a queen, a couple of knights, a handful of rooks. Gone! That's my intel right now, guys. You can believe it or not. I don't give a fuck. But that's what's not being reported. And I think you guys, at least my M&M followers, should understand what the hell's really happening. Okay? Now let's move on to China. Oh, before I hit to China, let's talk a little bit about the Battle of the Bulge moment in Ukraine. During World War II, the Germans had a last-ditch offensive that almost turned the tides of the war, known as the Battle of the Bulge. And it failed, but almost was successful. That's what I'm calling this. After building up of imported weapons and everything from NATO countries, there was a great offensive with a great deal of manpower. Not professional soldiers, but whoever they could gather. And threw them at the Russian lines. And we gained a lot of territory. It looks great on maps. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Any of you have read Guy Sager's The Forgotten Soldier? The story of the German member of the Grossdeutschland division on the Russian front, and his story about retreating through massive swaths of territory captured. Whatever you read, it's bullshit. Okay? I'm telling you the true intel, so soak it up. Now let's go back to China. Also on Drudge, there's this nice continuation of China evil, and everybody in China is all upset for continued lockdowns. What's these continued lockdowns? Imagine that. Just before this holiday, this major holiday, suddenly there were outbreaks of a new strain of coronavirus. Outbreaks of new strain of coronavirus, all in key cities up and down the coast. Out of the blue! You have no coronavirus, and then suddenly it's everywhere. Imagine that. And right in front of a holiday. Oh my goodness. What are the odds? So there are... Now, China doesn't lock down entire swaths of states anymore. They just lock down regions. If you're infected, your region is locked down. That generally means one city block in general. So populated up and down China are maybe 30 city blocks. One here, one there, one there, one there, one there, one there, all locked down to contain this mysterious outbreak that came out of the blue. Imagine that. And the people are like, okay, we're stuck in during the holidays. It sucks, but hey, what are we going to do? That's it. That's it. That's the news. Now, you can say, well, it's just a coincidence that everything had this outbreak at this particular timing. It's just a coincidence. You can believe that if you want to. Whatever you want to believe. I don't give a rat's ass. Personally, I believe that China's right is treating it, yes, another biological attack by the arch villain of the world, the United States. Just because Biden doesn't have a monocle doesn't mean he's not a very effective puppet of demons. So here I am. I just gave you 2 pieces of intel that you won't hear anywhere else. Now, if you want to believe the mainstream American press, that Russia is met its match and the superior forces of the Ukraine has gilded up and are now going to crush Russia and march onto Moscow, well, go straight ahead. I'm just telling you what's actually going on. And if you want to believe that China is being silly because everybody knows that coronavirus is nothing to worry about, and that there it is again, and soon the Chinese are going to rise up, well, you can believe that too. I don't give a rat's ass. Now, longtime followers are aware that I've been posting stuff about the so-called remote viewing of the Tunnel of Light, and what Commander has to say about it, and what some lucid dreamers have to say about that, and I'm going to give that a rest now for a while. Okay? Maybe some more stuff is going to pop in the pipe down the line, but you know, I got to give it a rest. I'm going to cover some other stuff. Okay? If I do cover Tunnel of Light, it will be about the Tunnel of Light. Okay? Not about all this extraneous stuff. I've continued to post stuff on Metallicman, the website. I've been getting some complaints privately that people are saying I'm spending too much time on social issues, things, you know, like what's going on in China and personal stories of divorce and relationships and stuff like that. They're saying they don't want to hear about trends in furniture or woodworking or stories of cats and stuff. And, you know, and I got some people that are saying if they wanted to see food, you know, they go to a restaurant. And as I said this to everybody, you read what I offer. If you don't like it, you don't read it, and you leave. You stick around if you find it interesting, and you read it. If you don't find it interesting, you skip over it. All right? If you think that I am going to churn out detailed information on our benefactors on a daily basis, guys, I got a life. All right? I can't do that. Okay? What I am sending out is stuff on Patreon. You want to know about our benefactors? You want to know about UFOs? You want to know about that kind of stuff? You join Patreon. Other than that, guys, it's better if you just go ahead and read Politico or CNN or BBC to get your news. I'm being facetious, but you know, you kind of get my drift, don't you? To understand our relationship as humans with that of the benefactors, you have to understand the human condition in all its glory. Our relationship with cats. Why we love food and the types of food there are. Why we furnish our homes. And what's this thing about money? What's all this issue about money? Money, 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 money. You have to understand it. You just cannot pick and choose things. Well, I want to know all about this, or just talk about that. Because I'm not going to do that. So I'm just continuing on. I'm putting on my new beginning stuff. I haven't found a spot for some of the stuff, you know. Most of the stuff is a regurgitation of a regurgitation. Most of the stuff I read is a regurgitation of a regurgitation of a regurgitation from an echo chamber. Everybody's just like in this big clusterfuck jerking each other off. Russia is falling apart. Oh yeah, Russia's falling apart. Oh yeah, Russia's falling apart. Look at these tanks. Oh yeah, you can tell because of the... It's like a clusterfuck, okay? Same thing with China. China doesn't have a chance because it's all conscripts. I read that. I was like, China is conscripts? They got an all-volunteer army. The entire fucking country is all volunteers. They learn how to be a soldier from first grade, for God's sakes.
就这。
放下来吧！不行了，走出去！不放！你来这里吃这个苦干嘛？不放！不放！我要当特的人！你不是那块料！我是！我这就是老板！
我们唱着东方红，
大家做出站起来，
我们讲着春天的故事。
开放复兴。
如果战争来了，你是选择上战场还是逃跑？
上战场。
为什么呢？
我是中国人，我的国家我来保护。
霜月落庭前，照谁也无眠。提笔惊扰烛火，回南斜。看人间故事，都逃不过离别。数不完的燕青花圆缺，不惧风雪。我中华儿女流血不流泪，永不悔。如华夏显神威。信念坚如铁，不怕苦也不怕累，
And then there was another one. He answered it on Quora. He says, well, you know, since China is selling military weapons to Russia, it's like, do you know the difference between a banana and a potato? Russians use bananas, China's use potatoes. What is Russia going to do with potatoes? Okay? I gotta tell you, the idiocy that goes on in the West is profound. I tell you what. Now, for those of you who are in the know, you know I bought a car. Actually, my wife bought a car. I says, get us a car. She got a car. And both of us have driver's license, but I choose not to drive because I really don't like it anymore. I used to be, as an American, I used to like cars. I would check out, you know, the latest cars and all this stuff. And when I was retired, I was driving a Cadillac. Anyways, I abandoned all my cars when I moved to China, and pretty much I rely on chauffeurs, one form or the other, to get me around. But basically, out of necessity now, since we live in Changzhou, I have to go to my office in Zhuhai, so I need a car. I can use public buses. It's a 2.5-hour ride every morning. Ugh. Ugh. So, got a car. Then I've been asked, you know, how hard is to get a driver's license? It's a hassle, but not impossible. You have to take you have to study for it. There's 1,000 questions that are chosen randomly, and 100 pops up. You must get the multiple choice questions right to get the license. You get 3 chances. I did it, and I scored a 98, so I got 2 wrong. Unacceptable to me, but you could get as many as 4 wrong and still pass. Anyway, so I got my driver's license. So this is what it looks like. It's different from an American license. It's a book. As in all things China, if you got an official document, it's a book. This is the book. And if you open the book, you will see my information. Woo, woo, woo. And my attractive picture that took, I don't know when. And that's my driver's license. And you have driver's license too, if you want to come here. China will not allow you to drive in China with just your foreign license, so don't think about that. If you do drive and have an accident and you're driving under a foreign license, you could be in serious trouble. I know people who do it. They haven't been in an accident yet, so they haven't gotten in serious trouble yet. But you can get in serious trouble. Now, guys, serious trouble in China means something different than serious trouble in America. Okay. We'll leave it at that. And I want to address a couple of things concerning the website. Those of you who don't really go to the website, you can just leave now. But as far as the website, got a guy here. Occasionally I get people who park themselves on the forum or on comments, and they start using it as a venue. Sometimes it's disinformation. Usually starts innocuous, and then once they're got their claws in the website, then they start throwing out bullshit like flat earth stuff and whatever. Dangers of 5G and stuff. While others, they just say something really nice, 1 or 2 nice sentences, and then give a link to some other website that they are paid to propagate on the internet universe. So I banned the guy. Now, when I say I put somebody to the cornfield, I don't mean that I ban them. When I say I banned somebody, I mean you're banned. If I say I erased your ISP, it means I not only banned you, but I banned everybody in your city. But when I say I put somebody to the cornfield, I mean exactly that. It's personal. I use abilities, resources, systems to track this person down and then place, you might call it a curse if you are very crude-minded. What I do is I pull the world line template out from under them and replace it. This takes time, it takes effort, and it's not done lightly. There was only one instance where I changed my mind and undid it, and it was a lot, as hard as it was to do, it was a hell of a lot more work to undo. So I take a great degree of care and concern when I throw somebody to the cornfield. I have gotten feedback on what happens to these people. I don't care. If you do something that warrants you going to the cornfield, you have lessons you must learn, no matter how painful they are, and you must endure them. And don't go crying to me. Don't go crying to me. I have no sympathy for you. Okay? You fucked up. Pay the price and move on with your life. Some people say, well, you know, don't you think it's a little overkill? In which case I say, I use the tools and resources what I have, okay? If it's overkill, that's relative to your point of view, okay? Not to my point of view. It's like China. America wants to surgically strike a general. China just takes a thermonuclear weapon and blows out the city. In both cases, the general's done. It's just a different technique. Okay. And if you're in horror because I'm saying this, well, guys, don't fuck with me. Okay? Anyways, now for that. I'm going to talk something a little bit that domain members will understand. We're all free to come and go. If you can't handle the rigidity of domain, you can leave. It's not a problem. But if while you're in domain, you must be true to yourself and to your cadre. You can't violate the rules. The rules are very, very simple, but you cannot violate them. And you also have to stay within your caste, your case system, which isn't really an issue like you would think it would be, but it's not an issue. But if you want to move out of the case system, you leave the domain, hone up your skills, and then reapply at a different case. For those of you who are asking. Okay? Alright guys, that was my bit of intel. I'm sure it angered a few people, confused a bunch of others, and maybe some of you even found this boring. Sorry about that. In the meantime, we've got this is summer, this is the end of September, October's on the way. I would strongly suggest some pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie, warm apple cider, spiced. And make a good holiday of it, okay? That's what I would say. Take care, guys. And know, well, guys, I believe in you. Know that.